I want to tell a story. Part of healing is to laugh lots. I hear people laughing, but not too much. And that is what my father told me. When you're sick, you should laugh so hard, so all that sickness will move right out of you. And we don't do enough of that. I travel many, many places to help heal people. But I want to go back in time. When my father and my mom were young, they lived a very harmony with the land, with the animals, with everything. They knew the inside out of Mother Earth. They had stories of long time ago how everything used to live, how the connection we used to have with all living things. And that connection of those living things that they talk about is no longer in place. So when I look in the past, the way the healing used to be for my people, there were many, many medicine people. There were many healers, but there were many gifted people. When we're talking about healing and wellness, we're not just talking about humankind. We're talking about that whole circle of all living things that the Creator has created. And how do we balance with all that creation? When we're taught very young to have respect and to look after the land, to look after the water, that water we call grandmother water. How do we look after her? If the water is not healthy, how can we be healthy? If the land is sick, how could the land look after us? How could we be connected to all living things in a proper way? So when I look at that history in the past, when my father and my mom and the elders used to tell me stories, how they used to travel on the land, but newcomers were coming in from the south. But a lot of them were very ill. And so the medicine people and healers used to help them heal. Because in those days, there weren't too many doctors and professional people were up in the north yet. So they would help them. They would make sure that they feed them. They would go hunting for them, fishing for them, and to make sure that they're healing properly. They would bring medicines from the land. Sometimes we used the medicines from the animal. And how can we help them? So the elders never stopped talking about those stories because we need to pass it on to our young ones. When people would get sick, they know a certain part of the land in different areas and in different communities who are the healers and medicine people so that they can go to them. As time went by, everything started to change. And that change was just that lose that connection of each other and how we connected with new people. Eventually, all those things started to break when they started finding minerals, oils, everything up in the north. And it started to divide our people. It started to divide the people that we just got to know. Then things started coming and the land started to get sick. The medicines were also starting to get sick because there's so much changes in the air, there's so much changes in everything. And the elders were telling the stories that they're worried about our grandchildren and the great-great-grandchildren and great-grandchildren. What are they going to have when they grow up? If we don't look after the land, we don't look after that water, how can we feed the world with that fresh water? So as time went by, my dad told me, when you grow older, you're going to be doing healing, but you're going to do also, you're going to be work with medicines, but you're going to have to use your other gifts too. As I travel different parts of Canada, I started to see the changes of water, the smell of it. And I tried to wonder, how could people drink that water? It's so polluted. Everything goes into that huge lake. And so sometimes I would go down to the lake and I would look up in the sky to see if every element in the sky is in the right way. So I would take my drum out and get some elders to help me pray. And we'll do a ceremony to clean that lake. Within 20 minutes, you could take a cup of that water and drink it. Many, many people say, how could you do that? I said, well, that's the gift that our people used to have. Before residential school came, our people were so gifted with many, many gifts. But when the other diseases started to come into our land here, our healers and medicine people couldn't heal the people because these diseases they did not know. How could you heal something that they've never seen before? And the smell of people getting sick and dying. We didn't have those medicines on the land. So people had to move away from the main land as people were dying and put them healthy ones on the islands. And that's how our people survive. As I get older and as I work in this system, the health system, the wellness system, for years and years and years helping my people get well, one of the biggest things I notice that when the doctors start to ask me to come to the hospitals now, because there's patients that they could not heal, tumors, cancers, kidney problem, liver problem, intestine, all kinds of bone problem. And they say there's no way that we can help these people. But every time I go into the hospitals to help, I would get some racism look at me because I was helping healing people. So I decided one day I'm just going to go in there, sneak into the hospital so that nobody knows I'm helping healing people. And then I would give the doctors the credit because they think they healed them. I just went to see them the day before and they were leaving that same day. So as I was doing more and more work, I went across Canada. In Toronto, a huge hospital asked me to come in. When we're talking about diabetes, it can really hurt people a lot. And there was this young man that had diabetes so bad that below both of his knees were completely black. And he didn't want his leg to get amputated, so he asked me to come. So I went to see him, and the doctors wanted to go into the room with me. And I went, this is the first time I'll have them coming into the room. So they walk into the room with me, and I said, if you want to stay here with me, you have to do me a favor. You got to turn around and look at the walls. You can't watch what I'm doing. Otherwise, it's going to stop. So they had respect, and they said, okay, we'll do that. So after I picked my people that I want them to help me, I start doing the ceremony with a song. In our healing, we also have songs, and some of the songs are so high-pitched, and it's because that high pitch in our healing song has to hit the spirit world we call heaven, and it bonds us back with the gifts from the spirit healers, and it will bounce back with that song, and it will hit that person, and heal that person. So after I finished the ceremony, all my people that were helping me, they put all my tools away. So I told the doctors, administrators, and some of the nurses to turn around and take a look at that young man. When they look at that young man, from the knee down, it was just normal. Both legs were just normal. So I told him, I said, can you stand up and walk on it, and dance on it, jump on it, and see how it feels? And he started crying. He said, I never in my life have ever seen anybody could do that in less than 20 minutes to heal my leg to normal. I work on tumors that are so huge that doctors can't operate on those tumors. And within 3 weeks, the tumor is completely gone. Those are the gifts of life that we have put away, but we need to bring it back for the future. Because we need all of you to help each other and come together as people. We've been so long separated because we look at each other not with that respectful way, but we look at each other as how could we stay divided and not work with each other. Imagine how much power we can have. We can heal the whole world with a disaster that industry is doing, governments are doing. If we could make that world in a better way and start working towards the 7 generations for your grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, we want those grandchildren never to see what we have gone through. We want to set a beautiful, healthy life for them in the future. We got to stop thinking about here and now, how we can benefit for ourselves in this world right now. We need to change that aspect so that we can heal together and so that we can progress together and change the government structure the way it's working. It's not working. It's making Canada look bad. You need to change that so that we have workable government people so that we can have the best health system, the best wellness, the best social programs, the best education with the modern way, but also the cultural way. And that's what I work towards everywhere I go, is that making people come together and change the system that's not working and make it the best so that it can help heal all the humankind, not the race of people, but the humankind. And if we can do that, we can make a huge difference so that our children and grandchildren in the future will see this working team happening and start to develop and create so that we can make people healthy, and we have to find out what's making people sick and start working on those industry that's making people sick and put a stop to it. Let's keep Mother Earth the way it was given to us. It's never too late with the force and the power she has. And with the Father Sky and the Spirit World, imagine what they can do to help us if we ask for that help to make that change. And we need to be much more happy. We need to say hello to each other when we're walking on the street. We need to make a difference, and I always say the Arctic people can make that difference if we can all work together so that we no longer have sick people. We no longer have diabetes. We no longer have any more illnesses. That's what we need to work towards for the future. And that's the only way that we can do that and stop dividing us and make the government work for what the needs of that change is going to happen for the future. And that's what I'm working with today and every day. I built the Arctic Indigenous Wellness Foundation with 2 other members of elders. The reason why I did that is because that is a story that I heard when I was a little girl. They say our people are going to struggle because we don't have things that we need to heal our people. So you're going to have to find a way to do that. You can just start and do it. And that's exactly, I followed the ancestors' wishes. And I start doing it, and it's gone pretty good today. Within a few years, we'll have a brand new healing center by the new hospital. And we're doing that so that we can take the homeless out of the streets, so that we can make them well, so they can heal, we can counsel them, put them through treatment. But when they come back, we need to have projects to be built so that they have somewhere to go, either for further education or culture, or wanting to be a doctor, or wanting to be a professional person of some sort. Whatever they choose they want to be is what we need to start working towards. And it's a really good feeling to see people coming back from treatment. And we make sure that they go to their next step, And we don't give up on anybody. From 1 year ago, we've seen over 2,000 people at the camp. And the people are just coming in and out. We have professional people. We have all kinds of people stopping at the camp. Sometimes we're so busy, but we love it because people are laughing. People are having bush tea. They're having all kinds of coffees, cook over fire. We have moose meat, caribou meat, all kinds of wild food. And so when people drop over to the camp, they can eat. And there's just nothing but happiness and joy. And sometimes we tease each other so much, our stomach gets so sore, we can't do our work. So that's the kind of spirit that is driving all this. And we're really happy and proud of where we're going for the future. So let's work together. Let's make a difference for our great-great-grandchildren ahead of time so that we can have a best place for them with every structure that they need to work with. We'll make sure that they have all those tools, and we'll make sure that they will be happy people. I want to say masicho so much for listening. Thank you.